and gentlemen, it is Miss Media again, and today we are starting a new project, one I have wanted to do for a while. I wanted to do this in January, but stuff got shuffled around, and I ended up doing this now. Actually, I watched this movie in January, but this whole project I'm going to start now, so it's kind of a month late. But without further ado, I have decided I am going to watch every single DC animated film and review every DC animated film. Now, some of these are a little bit iffy because I'm not sure if I'm going to include Teen Titans Go or the Teen Titans adjacent movies. Not because I don't think they're part of the DCU, but I'm looking more towards the main film slate. So I have to think about that. Also, there are also 2 films in the slate which I'm not sure I want to watch. I know what they are, and I know what they're about, and I know just enough of them that I can talk about them, but I'm not sure I want to watch them. And if you think about it, you can probably figure out what those 2 films are, but that'll come at a lot later when I decide whether or not to watch those films. But we are starting with the earliest film I could find, and that film is Mask of the Phantasm from Batman the Animated Series. Now, I admit I don't have a lot of familiarity with this and I hate admitting this because it's going to make me look horrible. I don't really like Batman. He's not terrible. It's just I like other heroes a lot more, and I just find Batman's story to be really played out. Also, I don't like the idea of not killing villains because those villains come back and they try and hurt you over and over again. At some point, you just gotta step in and kill them. And I get his motivation, and I actually, from a story standpoint, I understand what they were going for. I just personally do not like the idea of letting dangerous criminals wander the streets without repercussion, which ties into this film very nicely because the gist of this film, actually this film has 2 parts. The Batman side of this film is Batman is trying to track down a new criminal called the Phantasm, who ties into what I was saying because they are killing mobsters, and I want to say she because you all know the twist at this point, but I'm going to keep it vague just for the couple people who haven't seen it, although I think my picture's going to spoil the plot twist, so I'm sorry about that. I write snarky stuff on my board for my thumbnails, and I realized now that I might have written down the twist, but I'm sorry. Anyway, he's tracking down the Phantasm, and everybody's getting unsettled. Meanwhile, the Bruce side of things has to deal with the fact that his old love interest, Andrea, has come back to Gotham. And honestly, his relationship with Andrea is probably what made this film for me, because they are genuinely interesting, and they have like legitimate chemistry, which really, really, really works. And watching him interact with her was nice because it shows Bruce has a humanitarian side, and he's conflicted between the fact that she clearly has criminal ties and the fact that he loves her and he wants to be with her, but she's not sure if she wants to be with him, and she ends up leaving, and it leaves him kind of scarred. And the whole relationship is most of the movie, and it's I skip a lot of movies just because I don't like sitting through long stretches of dialogue, but I actually watched this whole movie because it was different. It shows a side of Bruce that we don't usually get to see, because usually he's all stoic and stuffed in. But in this case, we get to see him be an actual person, and it's nice. But I should not have to tell you, and here it comes, because I know a lot of you know this, that Andrea is actually the Phantasm. And the crux of the second half of the movie is him realizing this and having to deal with the fact that the woman he loves, legitimately loves, is murdering people who personally I think deserve it. And I know a lot of people hate that, but honestly, I think that you can't be soft on bad people. Bad people, I wouldn't necessarily say always deserve to die, but these people are dangerous, and I can understand where she's coming from. I can also understand the fact that she blames these people for her father's death, although my argument will be he was just as much involved with them as they were with him, so he kind of kind of got what was coming to him only because he knew what he was getting into, and he knew how dangerous it was. That's the good part of the movie. The only part of the movie I didn't like, and I know this is going to cause a lot of hate, and I know this is going to cause a lot of strife with people, but here it is. One of the mobsters decides to go and ask the Joker for help. And honestly, I don't think he added anything to this movie. I mean, maybe... No, I don't really think he added much to this movie. I love Mark Hamill, don't get me wrong, and I'm really sad that we're not getting any Mark Hamill Joker anymore, but I do understand where he was coming from, because, you know, he doesn't want to work with anyone other than Kevin Conroy, but I'm not going to go into that very much in this video. But he just feels unnecessary, and it feels like they only did it to stuff a big name villain into the story, because they were like, oh, we need someone from the Batman Rogue Gallery in this movie. And I'm like, no, you don't. You already have a villain, and she works, and their chemistry works. His relationship with Alfred, worrying about him getting distracted, works. You don't need a villain from the Rogues Gallery in the movie, because you have one who's just perfectly fine, and his hunting this villain is perfectly fine. But that doesn't mean the movie's bad. I actually really liked it. I liked his relationship with Andrea. I liked the chemistry. I liked the fact that he's broken up about what he had to do, but he had to do what he had to do. He's Batman. He can't let a criminal get away. And I like the fact that, yeah, Andrea knows she can never come back. I would like to see her again at some point in the future, but that's another thing entirely. This was the first movie, and we have a whole slate of movies to go. I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to do one or two of these a month. I think I'm probably only going to do one, because I'm doing one movie review per month. Except this month, because I want to review a different movie, because it's Black History Month, and I want to do a couple things with Black History Month. But that was it for today. I like this movie. You should totally go and find it. If you like this content, you can also go to Rumble, and I do other stuff on Rumble that's not related to cartoons or anime. I have a Patreon. I have an Instagram, which I barely use. I have a Tumblr. My asks are open. I have a Facebook page, which I also barely use. Or is it called Meta now? I'm not sure what it's called now. I just call it Facebook because that's what I'm used to calling it. But that was it for this month, and I will see you next month where we continue this lineup.